2.5 problem notebook on page 6. We're looking at metric prefixes and their meanings. Number 1, identify the larger unit in each of the following. First we have centimeter or kilometer. Centi, the meaning of centi is 1/100th or 10 to the negative 2. The meaning of kilo is 1,000 or 10 to the third. So a kilometer is 10 to the third meters. A centimeter is 10 to the negative 2 or 1/100th meters. So therefore, the kilometer is the larger unit. Number 2, liter or deciliter. The liter is the base unit, so it's unmodified, and deci means 10 to the negative 1 or 1/10. So a deciliter is 1/10 of a liter, whereas a liter is unmodified, so therefore the liter is larger. And number 3, we have megagram or microgram. Mega means 10 to the 6 or 1 million, and micro is 10 to the negative 6 or 1 millionth. So you could also write that as 1 over 1 million. And so therefore, a megagram is 10 to the 6 grams, or 1 million grams. A microgram is 1 millionth of a gram, and so we can see that the megagram is larger. Roman numeral 2. We're going to write metric equalities. Alright, so first we have 1 gram equals how many decigrams, or blank decigram, let me rewrite that. 1 gram equals blank decigrams. Alright, off here to the side, I'm going to make a note of our prefixes, metric prefixes, and the meaning of each. And so we have giga, and with a capital G, and so that is 1 billion or 10 to the 9th. And then we have mega, which is 10 to the 6. We have kilo, 10 to the 3rd. Then we have the base unit, and so that's, you know, whatever the second letter is, the gram or the meter or the liter. And so then smaller than the base unit, we have deci, 10 to the negative 1. We have centi, 10 to the negative 2. And we have milli, 10 to the negative 3. And then we'll go down by 3's after that, or powers of 1,000, that is. So the next one is going to be micro. Micro is 10 to the negative 6. Then we have nano, 10 to the negative 9th. And pico is 10 to the negative 12th. So we can use the meanings of the prefixes to write these equalities. All right, so first, so we have 1 gram equals how many decigrams? Okay, well, deci is 10 to the negative 1. So let's think about it this way. A gram equals a gram. That is a true statement, of course. So a gram, of course, equals a gram. Now, a decigram, a decigram equals how many grams, however. So this is no longer a true statement if I just put the D in there. Deci has a meaning. And so if we keep this equality correct, we can put in the meaning of deci on the other side of the equation. What's the meaning of deci? Well, deci means 10 to the negative 1, or 1/100th. So 10 to the negative 1. So that makes sense now. That is an equality. That is a true statement. 10 to the negative 1 grams equals a decigram. But typically we don't write it that way. It's usually shown with positive exponents. So we could fix this, and if we just multiply both sides by 10, since 10 to the negative 1 is 1/10, we would switch this around and avoid having negative exponents. So if we multiply both sides by 10, then we have this statement. A gram is equal to 10 decigrams. And that makes sense, right? Deci, it's the same prefix that dime comes from. How many dimes are in a dollar? Well, 10. So that is our answer. 1 gram equals 10 decigrams. We can go on to the second example now. So next we have 1 kiloliter equals blank liters. And we could think about the meaning of the prefixes again. So a liter equals a liter. That's a true statement. And so then a kiloliter, well, what does kilo mean? If I just put in that prefix on one side, I need to put the meaning of the prefix on the other side. So kilo means 10 to the third. So to keep this equality in balance, a kiloliter equals 10 to the third liters. So now this has positive exponents, so we're not going to multiply by any numbers to get rid of the negative exponents. And so we can just transfer that answer up here. 1 kiloliter is 10 to the third liters. Often students, once they understand this concept, they don't necessarily work it out this way. Instead, they're just looking at these powers here, and they know kilo is 10 to the third times greater than the base unit, which would be the liter. So just in our heads, we can think, oh, well, 1 kiloliter is going to be a whole bunch of liters, and the power greater it is 10 to the third. Likewise with the deci, we know that deci is smaller. See, these are getting smaller, and these are larger this way. So deci is smaller, so we know that we're going to have a whole bunch of decis in one base unit, or the gram, and since the factor is 10 to the negative 1, we know that that's just 10, or the reciprocal of 10. and so we know it's 10 decigrams. All right, so let's go on to a third example. 1 centimeter equals blank millimeters. So in this case, when we have 2 units with prefixes, there's a couple of ways we could do this. First, we could develop the equality between centi in the base unit and milli in the base unit. That would be one way to do this. Or we could just look at the factor difference between them. So here's milli, here's centi. What's the difference between those? Well, the power is a power of 10. So this one's 10 to the negative 2, that one's 10 to the negative third. Now which one's larger? Centi is larger, so we know we're going to have a whole bunch of millis in 1 centi. So we could work it out in our head that way and figure, well, we have 10 millimeters then in 1 centimeter. You're going to have a whole bunch of millis in 1 centi. Number 4. 1 gram equals how many milligrams? So in this case, if we just work that out in our heads, we can see millis here. Here's gram. Gram is the base unit, of course. The factor difference is 10 to the negative third. Which one is larger? Well, the gram is larger, therefore we need a whole bunch of milligrams to equal the base unit. 10 to the negative third is just 1 over 1,000. So the factor is a factor of 1,000. So we can figure that we're going to need 1,000 milligrams to equal 1 gram. Let's go ahead and we're going to go on to the opposite page in this case. So there's only a couple more problems, so rather than use up a whole nother page, we'll just go on to the opposite page. And I'm getting a little bit low on space here, so I'll just go over here. Alright, so the next 2 examples, so we have number 5. 1 centimeter equals how many grams? Blank grams. Again, we can do it this method where we're looking at the difference in the factors. And so we have grams at the base unit, we have centi right here. The power is a power of 10 to the second difference. And so we know that the grams are larger, so we're going to have a bunch of centis in 1 gram. But the way this is set up is a little bit confusing here. So why don't we work it out using the original method that I showed you, understanding the meaning of the prefixes. So let's write it out that way and let's see what we get. So we have a centimeter and a gram. Okay, so this is a typo. These are different types of units, of course. So this should be 1 centigram equals how many grams. And so let's go ahead and check this out. So a gram equals a gram. Now a centigram, centi has a meaning, and that meaning must be put on the other side of the equality. Centi means 10 to the negative 2. So we have an equality, and it's set up the way this problem was set up. We do have a negative exponent, but this particular problem was set up in a way that would lead us to a negative exponent, so we'll just put that in. So a centigram is 10 to the negative 2 grams. Okay, one more example. So 1 centimeter cubed equals how many milliliters, blank milliliters. This particular example might look like it's in different units. as well, like the last one that was a typo. But this one is, we can make a conversion here. Centimeters are units of distance or length, milliliters are a unit of volume, but a cubic centimeter is also a unit of volume, right? If you can think of a cube, that's 1 centimeter on all sides, right? Front, back, and height. 1 centimeter, 1 centimeter, 1 centimeter. Well, it turns out that 1 centimeter cube is equal to 1 milliliter. And that's just a fact you have to memorize. 1 centimeter cubed is equal to 1 milliliter.